Hi, everyone. Welcome back to a new episode of the Soft Whisper Revolution. It's been a while, but sometimes we need to have a little break before some really powerful words can be spoken. And I'm super, super excited today to have Naomi with me. She actually reached out to me because she really wanted to be on this podcast. So I'm very, very excited. We haven't known each other before we started this. And when we just checked in prior to recording, we shared a little bit of where we're at in our life and what her work is about, what I'm about. And we just realized, wow, the topic we really want to speak today about is ancestors and our role in our lineage. And beautiful word that Naomi has used is the lineage liberator. And it resonates so much with me, and I 100% understand it without rationally understanding. And that's why I would like you to help us a little bit, because I think you're a pro in that, but also like, please, please, please share who you are, however the words want to flow today. And then we're just going and flowing, because both of us, we don't really know yet where this is going to go. But I definitely felt just prior to speaking, when checking in, I felt very deep connection to the root, to the earth. My roots were
Yeah.
going down, and I felt my wings coming out and my ancestors lighting up behind me. So that is
Yeah.
going to be a joyful ride here.
Oh, that's so powerful. I felt that. I felt that. Thank you so much for that beautiful introduction. Yes, introduction. I appreciate that. I am Naomi Mendez. I'm a daughter of Cuban and Ecuadorian immigrants. I was born in the United States and I live in Peru. So, my work, it's very hard to articulate what I do, but my work is very rooted in my purpose of serving other women similar to me who are the lineage liberators, like you said. Lineage liberators, you don't have to be a daughter of immigrants, but you are the one chosen in your lineage to not just break the generational chains that you have inherited that have bound your family for hundreds and hundreds of generations, but you're also the one to liberate yourself and your lineage into a new paradigm, a new way of life, of living, where instead of inheriting sacrifice and struggle and scarcity and survival, we're inheriting abundance and fulfillment and true happiness, true purpose, regulated nervous systems. We're not inheriting trauma. So my work is very deep, is very profound. Um, and the root is in serving these lineage liberators and creating the space for them to not just break those chains and do the healing and liberation work, but bring to the world their brilliance, their body of work, and their impact that they're here to make, because that is a huge piece in the whole liberation. They're not going to liberate their lineage being bound to the matrix. The liberation happens by bringing your impact to the world and fully breaking free. So that is who I am, what I do.
Super beautiful. Thank you so much. I was listening and I had this part with him. He was like, but it's so exhausting. It
It
is so
is.
exhausting, I have to say, at times, because what I see as well is like I'm creating a stop inside of my lineage of like certain behaviors. I don't want them to proceed. Just had a beautiful conversation with a friend, and I am, my heritage is Swiss. I'm as Swiss as it can get. I tried to do some research because I was like, I want to have some different blood inside of me. But no, I'm as Swiss as it can get. And Switzerland is a nation. Yeah, everyone thinks we're very well off. Okay, I'm like spilling the Swiss secrets here, and well off, and everything is smooth and nice. And I'm like, well, the like my grandparents' generation, alcoholism was a norm. Like that was just normal. Usually, our grandfathers had alcohol problem. Through to that, violence was a common thing, abuse was a common thing, and certain behaviors that I don't even know if we can speak about this in this podcast, but maybe we have to, which is like basically with their own daughters. That it was a common thing.
Mhm.
I've spoken to so many of my friends who are Swiss, and they all share similar stories, because this is a typical thing, right? Of the ones who create the stop,
Mm.
we know all the family secrets. We are
Mhm.
here to
Yeah.
hear it all. I'm here to feel it all. I felt these things, even though it didn't happen to my body. So I'm creating this stop of saying that's how far it goes. From now on in my
Mhm.
lineage, this is not going to continue. And that is so exhausting at times because we have to move through so many things. Obviously, if it's ingrained like epigenetics in my DNA, then my being
Right.
also sometimes kind of searches for the same experiences to happen again, the trauma to
Yes.
happen again to me. So it is a tough work. And sometimes it feels like Sisyphus climbing up the mountain, continuously rolling. It's exhausting. So that part just wanted to
Yes.
share it here because I think some people who are listening to this, because I definitely think people who are the lineage breakers are going to listen to this. They also feel that exhaustion of like, really?
Yes.
I am supposed to carry
Yes.
all of that, all of the shit show that my ancestors have done. I'm the one that needs to work through this. But yes, yes.
Hmm. Thank you for opening with that, because that is a very real and true element of this path as the lineage liberator, of being the chosen one in your lineage and in your family. It is so exhausting, it's tiring. It even can feel like more suffering is happening for you. When you're here to end the suffering, it can feel like you're suffering, trying to end the suffering. And it is really hard because, like you said, it's so ingrained in our DNA. And what we're doing is we're recoding our DNA so that the future offspring has a different DNA code. So this is very hard. We're trying to recode hundreds and hundreds of generations of being one way. And like you said, the behaviors and the patterns, even though it didn't happen to you and you're a few generations later, there's probably still things that might come up in you where you might self-sabotage in certain ways, or it might show up in certain feelings that are coming up, because even though we didn't experience it, we inherited it. And so the ancestors before us who lived it, who didn't get to heal it or release it or clear it from their body and their frequency or their field, you inherited that. So now it's just like, it's almost like a snowball that's just turning into an avalanche, and you inherited the avalanche. And now it's like and you know what, you as the chosen one, it's it's like your birth, right, and also your path to not carry it anymore. And it's not just by dropping it and forgetting about it. No, we do have to do the work. We have to heal it. We have to, what I like to do is clear it. So yes, we have to look at the wound, we have to do some healing work around it, but that doesn't have to take very long. And then we can clear the lower frequency, and from there I like to alchemize a higher frequency, a higher power and potential. But the work in it is really to release it, is to no longer be carrying this in our DNA, in our bodies, in our energies, and in our lineage. We want to move forward free. And the energy of free and liberated is lighter, is not as heavy. And we want to experience these higher frequencies. And so it's very hard because you're the in between. You're where it will no longer ever be how it was. And you're creating a new way that we don't even know about, because we've never lived it. We're creating it. So it's really, really hard. It's exhausting, it's tiring, it's challenging. Like, you can look at yourself and your life and your path and question why and doubt if it's possible. Sometimes you even wonder, like, maybe it's easier if I don't continue being the lineage liberator. Maybe it's easier if I just conform to the way, because it is easier.
A hundred
It's much easier
percent.
to be
Yeah.
how we've always been. But that's why the lineage liberator is also a trailblazer.
Mm.
And that's why in my world and in my work, I call her the chosen one. It's very, I have three other siblings. We're all walking, a different path, but I really feel there's a chosen one that's doing the work, that isn't allowing the things to repeat and continue and perpetuate, that is doing things very differently. And you'll know if you're the chosen one. you know
100%. I always say like we're like the black sheep, but I rather see myself as the rainbow sheep. That's me.
the rainbow sheep.
Like, look how I'm
Yes,
sitting
I
here.
actually
Like,
was.
I'm wearing the colors.
Yes, we are the rainbow sheep, and that's exactly why.
Yeah.
And I just made content about this yesterday. I just made some posts about this because as the black sheep, we were never meant to conform. We're here to be different, to totally change. But the problem with the black sheep is that we're inheriting the way of conforming. So our nature is to conform, but our destiny is to break free. So we're battling this inner battle of like, well, I want to make my parents proud, or I want to make my family proud, or society proud, or I should do what I should do. But then there's the black sheep, the rainbow sheep that is here to be free and wild and do things totally differently, illogically. I mean, truly, if you're living a life that makes no sense to your family, to your parents, that they question it, other people might even be judging you for it. They think you're crazy. You're living the path of the lineage liberator.
100%. I was just, while you're speaking, I was like thinking, and a lot of it also shows up in the way we're living our life. Like
Yeah.
I shared with you, a hidden trait our grandparents had was alcoholism. I'm a person that I don't drink alcohol, nothing, which is such a challenge for everyone in my family. They're thinking something with me is wrong and I'm missing out. And like,
Right.
in what world is it a problem if I don't drink alcohol? But it's that living a completely different life. I am 100% vegan in a family that is butchers. I
Mm.
wear colorful clothes. I'm the oldest daughter, and I'm the one that has no home. I'm living nomadic. I'm living out of my suitcase, which is back there. I'm currently cat sitting in Berlin. It's like completely different. I make my own clothes. I crochet. I love crocheting. I'm an
Oh, I love
artist at
that.
heart. There was another example that I was just before when you were speaking. I was like, oh my goodness, yes, and that as well. But just like completely different lifestyles. And that is a beautiful example and the whole backbone of the Soft Whisper Revolution podcast as well. Just by me living a completely different life, I'm creating change, right? I am, and
Yes.
this has been a big thing for me to realize is I don't need to force the change to happen. Like I don't need to force my parents or my siblings or any of my relatives to change their life because that's way too exhausting. I know some people are here for that. Those are the rebels. They're here to go on the street and fight for the rights. And I'm like, I'm supporting you, but I don't have the strength for that. I'm a highly empathic, sensitive person. That's not my role. My role is simply like, I
Mhm.
live the change. I am the change. I show you that it is perfectly fine to live a different lifestyle than anyone else out there and be happy, and through this inspire, and through this create that like cut.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
that has taken quite a lot of work in my life. That's what you shared before, like the things that we need to liberate as well. It's like in the Swiss culture, what is very deeply ingrained is like you got to work hard, and you need to work even more than working
Mm.
hard. Like you need to work your ass off,
Mm.
be someone, and to make money.
Mm.
And that
Mhm.
is something that I just don't stand behind. And I'm like, all of my siblings, my family, they are, and most of my cousins and relatives as well, and they're all pretty like well off. They say they're happy in their jobs, they're happy in their lifestyles, and I'm living a different life, which is like I have my own business. I am self-employed. I am working from different spaces in this world. I have months where income is soaring up. I have months where there's no income coming in. And that is a completely different money relationship as well, because that's a big one
Yeah.
that has been like,
Mhm.
what is it? Inherited, that we inherit the whole money
Yeah.
story, right? So I
Mm.
definitely
Yes.
break through so much with that because I think that's the culture, like the Swiss collective culture that I am also breaking through. So that's, I don't know, even know that wouldn't be lineage, that would be a collective. I can see that this is like, but then if we're actually seeing the
Cultural. It could even be
lineage, we're
cultural.
so connected with everyone, right? So that is a massive.
Yes.
That is one that I definitely say that I'm still standing in that one, breaking through that. Some of it, like the liberation
Yeah.
of who I am and just living the life, not drinking alcohol, being vegan, wearing colorful clothes, even though I'm 38 and people think we're too old in that age. Like, no way. But certain things, I still feel like I'm still living in it, right? So it's a life
Yeah.
journey.
We are still, we're not going to just break all the chains at once and done, we're free. It's, I believe, our life's work. Besides the work that we came here to bring to the world, that is our life, but that is our life's work for the collective, our life's work is to continue to break these chains. And I think that there's going to be phases and chapters and eras of this because I'm not a mother. Yeah, I don't have children, and I can only break so many chains as I am now. Once I have children, that'll reveal a whole other level of trauma and chains and work to do to continue the liberation work. So I really do feel like this calling on your life to be the lineage liberator is not just, okay, well, you made it or whatever made it means, to break the chains. It's actually, you're going to start with one chain and then another chain. And like you said, freedom of yourself, your authenticity, your expression, who you are, your identity. That's usually where we need to begin. And then it's going to be other layers. And like you said, the money work is really big. And I think that that one can come in at many points in your life. It can come in, growing up in scarcity and being driven like me. I was a daughter of immigrants. My parents in the United States did not have much money, also had to work so much. My father used to work double overtime. So he worked his full-time job, he worked overtime, and then he worked double overtime, and we still did not have enough. It was still never enough. He was always having to borrow money from his brother or the neighbor or somebody because he didn't have enough. And so for me, I grew up watching that, like the money and the needing to like work so hard to earn not even enough. So it's insane how we inherit these money stories and these money wounds, because that's really is what it is. But underneath each wound, I believe, is a gift that it is giving us. And I like to see that with anything, any shadow or any wound, there's a gift there for us. It's made us resourceful. It's made us resilient. It's made us be able to figure it out, right? So we have all of these abilities now, and now we want to learn how to use that in a way that supports our abundance, that supports our prosperity, because we are here to break those, but we can break those money chains, but we can still be very much in them as we're building it. So I've been in plenty of examples in my own personal life where I have made multiple six figures in corporate, in my business as an entrepreneur. I've had plenty of money, but I have made poor decisions, you know, like rooted in lack. My decisions have been rooted in scarcity, or they have been, the way that I teach this and explain this in my world is we're filling a void. When you inherit scarcity and money wounds, that means your ancestors, or at least in my case, and in your case, with the working so hard, and you're inheriting these wounds where there's this void that they're trying to fill, and they're either filling it with working so hard to earn enough to be able to get something, some desire, or they work so hard and they don't make enough and they can never get what they desire. Either way, it's a void that we're trying to fill. And so we inherit this void. And me personally, I found huge success financially in corporate. I was in New York City corporate for 8 years. I made great money there. I also had great success in my business when I first launched it and transitioned from side hustle to full time. I was able to leave my corporate job. So I have experienced a lot of abundance, but my wounds were not in being able to make the money. My wounds were in what I do with the money and the way that I spend it, the way that I use it, the relationship with it. And that has been where I've sabotaged my own wealth. I've sabotaged my own ability to liberate myself and my lineage financially sooner. I'm only 35. We got plenty of time. But we live and we learn. And part of those wounds with the money is that it doesn't matter how much you make. So it doesn't care. Those money wounds don't care if you're making bare minimum or if you're making millions. They will sabotage your money at any point. So I was making multiple six figures. I had a lot of money coming in, but what did I have to show for it? Almost nothing, because my spending habits, I was trying to fill this void for myself and my hundreds of ancestors who never got what they desired. And so the money wounds is a really, really big one. And I'm also still, speaking and leading and teaching from that one as well, as I'm learning to build wealth.
It's a massive one. And I think money is money, but it actually entails so many different layers within it, and that's why it's such a big one. And I think if
Yeah.
we're speaking about
Yeah.
collectively, we also have a massive money distortion in this world. I've been speaking a lot about like a wealth redistribution, this belief that they're saying we don't have enough resources or we don't have enough money is also bullshit, because it's just like not distributed properly. And in this saying as well, like if
Right.
women hold wealth, 70% of it goes back to community, versus man, it's 30%, which means there is plenty of money
Insane.
out there. But some people choose to
Nice.
sit on it, right? So in that understanding, there is a massive, massive wound out there. So that's why I can see it as well. Like I've not heard that many people share with me that they're absolutely broke, like I'd have in the last couple of months. It's getting worse and worse and worse. But I think we are all collectively, like individually, but collectively working on a massive breakthrough in that area of like going away from how we used to think money is created, or how we used to think money works, to something new that is
Or
not
is
yet.
earned. Yeah.
Yes, the way it is. But like you said, there is the sometimes I heard that it's like the way we earn, the way we spend, the way we save, and the way we invest. We have like these four pillars that with money. So we each individually has a different one. The funny thing for me is when I used to be employed, I used to work in offices and I was a social worker. The earning was never an issue for me. Like I had no money issues. I was okay, but which is like the easy way. And as soon as I started being self-employed, the issues started showing up. Similar to you, I realized holding your own business, there is a lot of expenses each month. And I'm okay with these
Yeah.
expenses. These expenses are needed. I have to have multiple things with like online, like the Zoom thing and everything else. So there is a
Yeah.
lot more spending involved. When I'm employed by someone, I only have my personal expense. As soon as I have my own business, I
Right.
have all these different expenses. So I realized the same
Yes.
amount of money actually doesn't last anymore because the spending becomes bigger. So
Yes.
it's a very
Yeah.
interesting one. Suddenly, another wound started showing up, and I also had this thing like maybe a year ago or something when I started doing. I did a tarot spread for myself, and I specifically asked around finances, and I got a double tower, and I was like, oh fuck.
Oh,
Tower
wow. We
card for
love
people
that.
who don't know is definitely like something is going
A
to break.
complete rebuilding.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, you're
Destruction.
telling me I'm going to lose all of my money. I see it. So I'm going to choose how I'm going to lose that money. And this basically, I was like, okay, I'll buy all my flight tickets. I buy this and this. I invest in certain products that I need for my business. And I'm like choosing what I'm going to spend it on instead of it just being like my bank card is stolen and someone steals my money. And so I consciously chose to go to zero. That was a hard one. That was an
That
insane
is a hard
hard
one.
one. And that is an interesting one because differently to your family story, I actually have a family story where everyone has money. It must be something deeper, like to probably the relationship with money that I'm working through collectively,
Well,
obviously for my whole family and ancestral lineage. So that has been an
yes.
intense one. Like, poof, breathing
Yeah.
from
And for
zero.
Mm. Oh, I know, I know. Try coming back from -0. No,
Admitting
but
all these things here is important.
what you're describing, because you're saying your family you come from or not a lineage that does already have some sort of stability. And so for you, what you're learning and the reason your experience is so different is because they have been making their money or earning their money all in a certain way that is conformed to society's rules and the matrix's path. You are as the chosen one in the Lineage Liberator, you still have that same, what I would say is like magnetic attraction to money. Like you can still receive money, but you're not going to receive it the same way as them. So
Yes.
your experience is going to be a lot more challenging because you're here to make it differently. Because from you, after you, the money is not going to be made the same really hard working, sacrificial way. It's going to be made living traveling, having fun, resting. You know what I mean? It's going to be a totally different formula for making the money, but you're the one creating this new formula. And the reason it's so hard is because your body was born wired to the old formula. So your
Yes.
body's like, no, 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 but this is the way that we make money. You're like, no, we're going to make money this way. But your body's still energetically catching up to this new way. And so when you get the tower card, I think you're very bold for
Double.
going down to the double tower. I'm also a tarot reader and a tarot teacher. And so the tarot, double tarot is asking you 100% to really look at the foundations of your money, of your relationship with money, your money stories of everything, how you earn it, how you spend it. And I think it's an opportunity because, yeah, the tower is destruction. So it could have meant that maybe somebody would have stolen your bank card or something would have happened with the money in your account. But at the same time, it wants the truth there is the rebuild because the tower is a destruction to rebuild. So it's about how you rebuild the story in your relationship with money. And so if you decided you were going to spend it on all these flights and all these trips, that's you creating your relationship that money supports your desires, money supports your travel, it supports your expansion because when we travel, we expand, we learn, we see new things. So your story, your what you're writing there is that money supports all these things. Now, I don't know if going to zero was the best.
It needed to happen. Honestly, I know
It
it
needed
needed
to
to
happen.
happen. It needed, like, I got the message, I accepted it. I also moved myself towards that consciously, which is a very
Mhm.
powerful move. Like for me, someone once very beautifully shared that with me. It was like this beautiful old lady that was like the most powerful tarot reader ever. And she shared with me the message of the tower card is you got to clean up in your life. So you can choose
Yes.
to clean out your closet or you cannot wait until the universe burns your house down. So for me, it's like, okay,
Yeah.
that's what I do. I clean it out. And like you said, I
Yeah.
consciously chose to spend it on really amazing and great things instead of
Yeah.
it having be stolen by someone. So yeah, I
Or
definitely
to spend
see
it from
that.
fear, right? Because what you could have done was taken all your money and saved it in
Yeah,
cash in case anything happened. You could have moved from fear, but you moved from possibility and from expansion and from excitement.
trust.
And 100%, that is the energy of the tower, like that lady said to
Yeah,
you. It is the energy, either you do it or I'm doing it for you, because the
exactly.
tower happens
Yeah.
when you've already been given a lot of opportunities to make these changes or to look at whatever you have to look at, but you don't move. So the universe forces
Yes.
a change on you.
Yes.
And so I'm glad you were able to like heed your warning.
Yeah, I have
Because
to say
sometimes
though,
the
like
tower comes and
yeah, I'm a big fan of admitting things as well. Like I have to say, it wasn't always easy. I obviously got into like quite of a fear frenzy as well at times, and I was like, okay, I gotta move now. Things I gotta work more. Da 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 da. Realizing now that it's summer in Europe. I mean, I'm in Berlin right now, and it's autumn weather and raining, but it would be summer in Europe otherwise. And I'm realizing, wait a second, actually, if I listen to myself, I want to spend way less time online and be in real life. So therefore, what I have chosen, and I'm
yeah.
just radically, yeah, and we shared it as well. I'm a manifester. I'm a Gemini brain and everything else. I do radical decisions. So what I've chosen is this summer, I'm only going to work one day, full day, and the rest of the day, half days online. The rest of the time is going to be socializing, as in networking, because anywhere I go, I talk about business and business related things. And I crochet. I crochet a lot. And in summer, I go to a lot of festivals to actually sell my crochet products. How ridiculous is that? That up until this summer, I never thought I'm allowed to say that I'm working when I'm crocheting because I enjoy it so much. But like how that
Oh, I
is
love
like that
that.
is the peak of saying work needs to
Yeah.
be hard. And that's why I'm like, oh,
No.
50% I'm doing admin stuff. And if my admin stuff doesn't get finished, I don't care. I tell people, sorry, I can't do it, or I'll do it next week. But I allow myself to crochet. I allow myself to meet friends because I've lived half a year or even a year now, not having 6-day work week, working full time, sometimes working until 10 in the evening. Yeah, it
Oh
doesn't
my,
work.
that's a
That
lot. That's
doesn't
very
work for
intense.
us.
Yeah. No, no, no. And that's not the balance, nor because the reality is that as humans, we are we're going to have this natural desire to do some work, to have purpose. And I love that your crochet doesn't even feel like work, and that, selling it doesn't have to be work. You can still profit off of your art, like without it being work. And it can still create an impact in someone's life to purchase your beautiful crochet pieces. So I feel that is more of what work needs to become. We have to redefine work, because work, the little bubble, work doesn't need to. I think we've been programmed and raised and taught to understand work as something that has to be hard, that has to be uncomfortable, that you're counting down the hours till you're done, or that like limits your time and your freedom. But the part of the purpose of our path as a lineage liberator is to redefine what that means. And I like to use words like purposeful fulfillment, where we're working in our purpose. And that doesn't mean that we don't work hard. I've had seasons where I've worked very hard, where I'm running retreats and I have clients coming like every other week to Peru and things like that. And I haven't had a moment to like rest. And then I have had other periods where it's very slow. And I've got like all of June was a very restful, slow month for me. And it was almost like I know I needed to have it because I feel like big expansion is coming. So I was moving into like a little bit of rest for it. But we want balance. We want something where you can decide for summer that you're only working one full day and half days the rest of it, because that's just the summer season. Maybe when you go into fall, maybe you pick up, and then maybe in winter you slow down again. We want to be able to, just like nature, ebb and flow. And we're women, at least you and I. So we're not following the masculine 24-hour clock of like same thing and same routine and same schedule. Like that's the old way. That's the patriarchy way that we're redefining. And that's the revolution, the inner revolution that we're ultimately changing. So I feel that work, the new definition has to be what you want it to be. It could even be that like you get paid to exist. You don't even have to do anything. You know what I mean? You don't even have to do anything. You just exist and you get paid to exist. I have other colleagues and mentors, and that's a big ethos in their work, and how they lead their work is that they get paid to exist. I'd love to adopt that. I'm working on on that belief. If money just arrives, I didn't do anything. But I do feel that as humans and souls here on earth, we have work to do. So there's always going to be a part of us that wants to work. It's just, what is the work and how balanced are we? Because the other thing too is we may be doing work that's in our purpose that we love to do, but we're programmed to have to work very hard to receive. So we are working all day, all night, hoping that that's enough to get clients, and no clients are coming. So it's like we're not, because the work is that we do what we have to do, and then we learn to release and surrender and receive.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. And I realized, wait, I have to also explain it a bit better. When I say I overworked, obviously there is a lot of work online that I really enjoy. I love these one-on-one conversations we're just having. I love the podcast. I love the clients, like the coaching. I love online courses. But that's exactly what you shared just now. The hours I have spent to get clients or to put my words out there or show myself, that is the thing that I'm like, no. And the admin, I used to work in an office, and I consciously chose to not do that anymore. So who am I to now put myself exactly in these shoes? So this is where I'm saying like, okay, we got to cut this down, the whole admin, like less perfectionism, less having to do all the different tasks. And I'm very lucky. I have 2 VAs right now who are helping me with social media, which basically cuts my social media time down to 10 minutes a day. And I could also do it one day a week. It's amazing and perfect, because that's as well, like social media, we can lose hours there. So this is like the conversations, the coachings, the crocheting, the meeting people in real life. Like this is the things that and yes, I do actually agree. I do want to be paid for existing. Eventually, that's where I'm going towards. And that for me does entail, though, me and existing does entail the whole one-on-one support, because I'm really passionate about that. And I also know that that's very much where my gift comes in. The crocheting is my hermit side. My grandmother's side is happy about that. And then selling it at festivals and seeing all these beautiful goddesses walking around, looking at themselves and saying like, "Ooh, I'm actually really beautiful." Yes, you are. But the passion definitely is still in one-on-one support.
And you get to define what is best for you in terms of how you like to show up and how you like to serve. I agree. I prefer more intimate work too, personally. Like I've held group spaces, but nothing like working with one person and really creating change after like 1 hour together because it is and I think that that is part of what fulfills us because if I couldn't live like as much as it sounds nice to not work and have someone take care of you like a husband with all the money in the world. I don't think I could do that. I don't think that I would be fulfilled or satisfied in a life where I'm not sharing my experiences and my wisdom with you. Like, why did I go through all the shit that I went through? So that I could share it with you, you know, like so I feel that, yeah, no, all of us, and you're blessed. You are blessed. I'm blessed that we have found this purpose and this work that we love to do. That is what I hope for everyone in the world to find because so many, and I know I was when I was in corporate, I was trapped. I felt stuck. I felt trapped in a job and in a paradigm and in a reality that was so foreign to me and who I really am. But I had to make myself fit and do what I had to do to survive in that world. And I could just wish for everyone to find that connection with themselves, with their power and with their purpose, and just take those intuitive actions because it's just an impulse. Like every step you take, I'm sure, is an impulse that you're following. It's not like, oh yes, that makes perfect logical sense. I'm going to follow this formula. Like a lot of people live based off the logical sense, but sometimes it's an impulse that tells you to do something that makes no sense. You have to do it. Like when I came to Peru, I was moving, it was a few months after my broken engagement. It was about like 5, 6 months after I left corporate. It made no sense for me to come to Peru. I didn't have next month's rent in my bank account. I was just following guidance and intuition and my tarot and the science. And I came and I met my husband here and my whole life changed. And then I moved to Peru and it's like I would have never arrived here in this reality if I didn't follow those nudges that made no sense, you know?
Powerful, very powerful. And definitely while you were speaking, I was also like, and I definitely know for myself, my ancestors are very happy with the path I have chosen. And I assume that's the same. Like they're like, wow,
Yes.
like especially now we're two women speaking about a lot of truth, shedding a lot of light onto things that some people don't want to talk about, like money and all of this and business and the reality of everything. And I definitely know the first time I connected with my ancestors, this was a big theme, the not being allowed to
Mhm.
speak, like just having to swallow everything and
Yes.
shutting down. So that is definitely a massive one. Like that's the throat connection, but like the womb throat connection that I think is the biggest gift that I'm working through for my ancestral lineage. One of the biggest.
Mhm.
No, it is the biggest. Why am I saying one of the biggest? It is the biggest thing. So it's just in that we're doing massive, massive like work.
Well, you're liberating them,
Yeah.
and they're cheering you on, your ancestors. Even though you in this reality feels like you're the black sheep and you're breaking all the rules and you don't fit, your ancestors are like, yes, keep going because they couldn't. They were silenced, they were limited, they were held back. When if they could have, they would have also been free and full of who they are. And so they're fully backing you, they're supporting you, they're standing behind you and even when you have to be brave, because sometimes we have to be very brave and we have to be very courageous, we have to take leaps of faith and big risks, but they're supporting you because that is the only way that you will fully liberate not just yourself, but your lineage and the healing that this creates, because the healing spans across space and time. It doesn't matter that your ancestors are from hundreds of
Yeah.
years ago. You do the work and you do the liberation every time you do it. And every time you choose an alignment to that freedom and to that liberation, you're healing your ancestors all the way back. And you're also creating new gene, you're rewriting your DNA. So anyone that comes after you is healed and not born with those wounds. It's the ancestors are celebrating us, they're dancing, they're singing, they're throwing a big party every time we're doubting ourselves and we're doing something brave and scary. They're like cheering us on. Like, because why? What's the other alternative? That we silence ourselves, that we don't do it, and then we end up like that. And then we die like they did.
Yeah.
And they don't want that. And
No,
we don't
they
want
don't
that.
want that.
And that's why we're the chosen one.
Yes. Yeah, and I definitely, while you were speaking, I was also thinking like and I can actually see changes happening in my family that is right now living in this plane
Mhm.
with me. Like, because that's what we're doing as well. Like, we're changing the lineage backwards, which will have a positive impact on them. And that is actually very
Yeah.
beautiful to observe. It's very soft. Change is obviously very, very soft, but I
Yeah.
can see it, and it makes me very happy. And that in that we're the silent workers, right?
Yes, you're right. You're right. And you do see it. And sometimes it takes separation. Sometimes it's a big trigger that creates an argument or a dispute or a separation. And then it needs time. But then the magic of the healing takes place and then it comes back into place and it heals. But sometimes, we never know the way that we're going to see the impact. Sometimes, like you said, it's very soft, subtle changes. Sometimes it's big, abrupt arguments or fights but that's what seeds the change and then the change starts to happen.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah.
Super inspiring conversation. I feel like we could continue forever and ever and ever. And
Yes.
so I feel like let's leave it there, because especially we're both very nerdy about these topics and we haven't explained a lot of the words, but this is where we're at. Like, I also feel like not limiting ourselves, because if people are interested, first of all, you reach out to one of us. You're like, what
Mhm.
they're speaking about? What was that word again? And what is that concept? And where is that coming from? Reach out to us, and we are more than happy to explain it. Also, I don't know how it is with you, but I have so many YouTube videos and on Instagram, like a lot of the information I've spoken about many, many times before, but it's completely fine if you listened to this here and you're like, okay, I understood like 50%, or even maybe you understood everything. That nothing matters, like everything is welcome. And I would just want to ask you, what is like the last sentence, summary, whatever you want to gift to people that listen to this here?
Mm. I'll leave you with my motto of everything supports everything. So everything you're moving through, going through, living through, and experiencing is supporting everything that you aspire, dream, and desire to be and have. So just knowing and trusting in the path and in the workings of the universe.
Beautiful. I love that. I'm going to leave it with, it's really bloody epic to be the rainbow sheep. So embrace it and find some other rainbow sheeps and realize that we make this world more colorful, more fun, more inspiring, more powerful, and everything else in between. And we're very much needed.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, so thank you so much for having you here. I'm definitely going to link your name and your link so people know how to reach out on both
Yes.
platforms. So yeah, thank you so much for being here. And next episode of the Soft Whisper Revolution is going to land whenever it lands. For me, it's all about divine timing. I'm going with the feminine flow. Sometimes I record 5 episodes in one day, and sometimes I don't record one for a month or 2 months. There is no defined timing in that. I know when things need to be spoken about, and that's also
Right.
very beautiful. Thank you so much for having.
Trusting in the timing.
Yes, thank you so much for being here.